Hey everybody, it's Ashley Richardson back with another video, and it's Miss Richardson to you if you are a student watching. And today, today we are making a cinnamon crumble cream cheese pound cake. Please stay tuned. So, fun fact about me, I really enjoy baking super early in the morning or late at night. The phone isn't ringing, I'm not distracted, and sure enough, I got a wild hair at 10:30 p.m. to bake a cake. And so, this is me starting the process by pulsing some cinnamon toast crunch, and that's about a cup of cinnamon toast crunch, which happens to be one of my favorite cereals. I've used it in my honey bun pound cake video before, very popular video on this channel. So if you haven't watched that, go and check it out. But have about a cup of cinnamon toast crunch and a fourth of a cup of brown sugar, and you're going to see me pulse that and get it nice and smooth. But before doing that, I also add some pumpkin pie seasoning. So instead of doing the individual add-ins of the cinnamon or the nutmeg or the brown sugar or the clove or whatever, it's all in the pumpkin pie spice seasoning. And I'm going to blend this until it's nice and smooth, and this is what's going to be incorporated into the cake batter, and some reserved for garnish on top. Per usual, we are starting off this pound cake with the usual suspects: 3 sticks of salted butter, a full block, which is 8 ounces of cream cheese, 5 room temperature large eggs, 3 cups of sugar, and 3 cups of cake flour. And I just love baking with cream cheese. I find that it makes the cakes so moist and rich, and it's just a personal preference, but it's definitely not necessary. You could definitely just do it with the butter and the sugar, and then use milk if you'd like, but a personal preference of mine is just to bake with the cream cheese. And of course, you want to make sure that all of your ingredients are room temperature. Another fun fact about me and this night: so when you get up at 10:30 p.m. and you decide that you want to bake a scratch cake and you're pulling things straight out of the refrigerator, well, of course, they're not going to be room temperature. So what I did is that I put the eggs in a bowl of warm water for about 5 minutes, which did the trick. And then I put the 3 sticks of butter in the microwave for about 7 or 8 seconds, which softened them perfectly, and they were ready to go. And by the time I was done setting up and getting everything I needed, the cream cheese had gotten to a really nice temperature, and so I was ready to rock and roll. So just a quick pro tip: if you are like me and you're crunched for time and you don't have an hour or two to let something sit out to get room temperature, put your eggs in some warm water and put those sticks of butter in the microwave for just a few seconds, and that will do the trick. So let's talk about flavorings and extracts. I'm adding a teaspoon of cream bouquet. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. I added a teaspoon of almond extract and 1 teaspoon of cake batter. And this cake batter extract just makes the cake taste more cakey, as does the cream bouquet. And it all came together for a wonderful, wonderful flavor. And then, of course, we cream the butter, the sugar, and the cream cheese until it is nice and whipped and smooth. And you will see what that looks like in just a moment here. Don't forget to stop and scrape down the side of your bowl while you are mixing, and I did this twice. It only took maybe about 4 or 5 minutes to get the butter, the sugar, and the cream cheese to this consistency. But this is what you want it to look like. And so don't gauge it by my time, but always pay attention to your mixer, because all mixers are not built the same. But this is what you want it to look like. And after you get it nice and whipped and creamy, and you can see those stiff peaks beginning to form in the batter, we want to add in those 5 room temperature eggs. And remember, do not crack the eggs over your mixing bowl. You always want to crack them separately, because we do not want to risk getting a bad egg incorporated into the batter, because once that egg is in, you can't take it out. Nor do we want to risk getting any of the eggshell in the batter, because that would be a what? Disaster. So please make sure that you not only get your eggs to room temperature, but you crack them separately. Now, as you're mixing the eggs in, you only want to mix them well enough so that the yolk disappears. So I maybe mix the eggs anywhere between 2 to 4 seconds before adding in the next egg. And I'm just going to show you that process in real time. Normally I skip from the first egg to the 5th egg, but I just want you to see in real time how quickly this goes, as to not overmix the cake. I did have 2 eggs that wanted to slip in at a time, like they was on Noah's Ark, going in 2 by 2. That hadn't happened to me in a while, but you know, if you have 2 eggs that slip in at a time, that is totally okay. It is not going to mess anything up. But the most important thing is to not overmix, and just only mix until you see the yolk disappear. The last step is adding in the cake flour and our cereal, brown sugar, and pumpkin pie spice mixture. And so you see me adding it in thirds. I took about a cup of flour and a third of the portion of the cereal mixture, and we're just going to add that in slowly. Again, we do not want to over mix. And I'm going to show you this process like I did with the eggs in real time, because I want you to see how quickly this goes. You can really still see the flour sitting on top of the batter before I add in the next third or the next portion of the mixture, because I always finish by hand. And just check out this process. Look how quickly it goes. Mix on medium speed, low to medium speed, and then we finish mixing by hand. Don't forget to leave some of the cereal mixture for a little razzle dazzle for your finished product, because we want some of those sprinkles on top. And voila, magic. We have a finished cake batter, and we're going to do the rest by hand. When you're mixing by hand, don't forget to scrape the edges and get down to the bottom of that mixing bowl, because you don't want to leave anything out. So I decided to bring out my Nordic Ware Anniversary Bundt Pan. I'm not sure how many cups this holds. It's a pretty large pan, so I'm thinking anywhere between 15 to 18 cups. I wanted to have those nice ridges on my cake, make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. And so instead of just using the regular tube pan, I'm using my Nordic Ware Bundt Pan. So you all have seen me do this process before. I'm taking my cooking spray for baking and thoroughly spraying the inside of the pan. You will also see me flour the inside of the pan. because I just don't want anything to stick at all. And I used approximately 2 to 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour to really coat the inside of the pan. You're going to see me knocking that flour around, making sure that it's inside of those ridges and completely coating the inside of the pan because I want my cake to slide out seamlessly. So you know how I always tell you all that putting the glaze or the drizzle on the cake is my favorite part of the cake process. Well, this is my second favorite part. I don't know what it is about shaking that flour on the inside of a pan, but I love flouring a pan. I don't know, it just makes me feel like I am a true baker. Now, am I still a true baker without using the flour? Absolutely. But it's just something about knocking that flour around on the inside of the pan. It's like, yes, I do this. I'm the boss. You flour, you gonna get where you supposed to be and sit down somewhere so that this cake can slide out. I love this process. Last but not least, we're going to dump that cake batter right on into that nicely floured pan. And you're going to see me pour a little bit. You're going to see me scoop a little bit. You're going to see me get all of the edges of the pan because we do not want to leave any batter left behind. But trust and believe, anything that was left on the spoon, on the whisk, in the bowl, uh, it did not get wasted. I'm just going to tell you that. So you're going to see me put that into the pan, knock some air bubbles out, which is another thing I really like to do. It's like maybe knocking that flour around and getting those air bubbles out. Is that like some aggression I'm getting out? I don't know, but I love doing it. And after we get this batter placed inside of the pan, I didn't say this in the beginning of the video, but the oven is preheated to 315 degrees Fahrenheit. I like to bake my cakes long and slow so that it is thoroughly baked all the way through. When I was baking my cakes at 350 degrees, the outside of the cake would get really brown, but the inside would still be doughy. And so I had to play around with some temperatures. The different colors of pans makes a difference. And so I have found that 315 degrees for an hour and 30 minutes really works well for my oven and my pans. Make sure that you look at your cake at about the hour mark. When your house starts to fill with that aroma and the cake has risen, definitely check on it after about an hour and watch to make sure that you don't overbake, because like I said, for my oven and my pans, 315 for 90 minutes works perfectly for me. But the best test is to put a toothpick or fork or something into your cake, and if it slides out clean, you know that your cake is done. I let the cake cool for at least an hour under my little tent, and after that, I prepared my icing for my most favorite part of the baking process. Do you all see how easily the cake I almost said slud. Yes, I make up my own words. Do you all see how easily the cake slid out of that pan? And look how pretty it is. This is why I wanted to use this bundt pan, because I just, like I said, I want a little more razzle dazzle with this cake this time. So I am so glad that my best friend gave me all of this icing, because at whatever time it was at this point in the morning, 1, 2 o'clock a.m., I honestly, I don't remember. I did not feel like making an icing. So I took some out of the pantry. I didn't even have to heat it up. You stir it 20 times, and it specifically said stir it 20 times. And It was a pourable consistency. You also see the leftover cereal mixture that I have in my cup and some cinnadust. Do y'all know there's a cinnamon toast crunch seasoning? I had to get it. And so we're going to use some of that as well. Everybody sit down and prepare for your eyes and your hearts to be amazed while we watch the icing cascade down the ridges of our cake. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Everybody sit down. Shh, 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 shh. Sit down, sit down. And let's watch this process. Our moment of silence has ended, and we can now resume our regularly scheduled program. Oh, you know, I like to mess with you all, but seriously, we have to take the icing seriously because it's like that. Now you see me taking the rest of the cereal and I am just sprinkling it across the top. I really wanted this cake to have a really good cinnamon flavor, almost like a cinnamon bun or a coffee cake maybe, but I really wanted a heavy cinnamon flavor. So, you know, if you don't like cinnamon or heavy cinnamon in your cakes, this is definitely not the cake for you. But you see me adding that cinnamon, and then you also see me adding more drizzle. So it's a layer of icing and then a layer of cereal and then more icing and then more cereal. And then for the coup de grace, I'm going to take some of that cinnamon toast crunch cinnadust and sprinkle it all over. I had a comment in my last video that stated they would have liked to have seen me cut the cake in the last video that I just dropped, the 5 flavor pound cake. And I definitely understand wanting to see the inside of the cake, because anytime I watch a cake video and I don't see them cut it, I'm like, that's one of the best parts. We want to see the inside of the cake. But like I said, I was selling that cake and selling those slices. And so I didn't want to do too much because I knew that people were paying for those slices. But I did not neglect to show you all this cake slice this time. It was so moist. It was falling apart almost. It was so moist. And there's another YouTube channel that I watch is called Old School Soul Food, I believe it is. And he bakes a cake every Friday and he calls it the moist test. And so he puts the fork in the cake and you can just see how moist it is, and he calls it the moist test. So look at how moist this cake is, and baby, it did not disappoint in flavor. Once again, we have come to the end of another video, and I thank you so much for spending just a little bit of your time here with me today. I also have some wonderful news. As of this video, we have finally hit our 500 subscriber mark, our first major milestone we have hit. Now we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. But as promised, I am going to do a 500 subscriber giveaway. So in the next video, I will definitely share with you the details of what it'll take to win and to be eligible for that giveaway. And like I said, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If you have made it this far in the video, girl, sis, bro, you hadn't hit that subscribe button yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you have watched several of my videos and you have enjoyed the content and you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting on? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please like the video because it definitely helps to push my videos through the algorithm when you like them, and engage in the comments. Let me know if you try this cake and any of my other recipes. I'm very curious to know. And once again, my name is Ashley Richardson, and that's Miss Richardson to you if you are a student watching. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Bye.